Hello everybody, I'm Catriona, I'm a sensory motor psychotherapist, and today I'd like to talk to you about something that affects all of us at some point in our lives: boundaries. It's something that we hear talked about an awful lot. We read about it. We all know that we need to have good boundaries. Sometimes we don't even know what that means. For some people, it's a concept and not something that they've got any capacity to do. It's something that is really fundamental to all of us. And I hear a lot of people talk about trying to set a boundary and not really knowing when they need to do it and how they do it. The problem with just deciding, right, that's not going to happen again, I'm going to set a boundary and then that'll be it. The problem with that is if we don't do the work with ourselves first, initially, then we might have an idea of what boundary we're going to set, but when somebody then pushes back on that boundary, then if we haven't got the absolute belief that we've got every right to have that boundary, that it's the absolute best thing for us, then when it's pushed against, it's quite likely to waver a little bit, crumble. We might even apologise. What was I thinking? No, sorry, of course I'll do X, Y, Z. And then what happens then is we become even more fixated on, oh, I can't ever set a boundary. Oh, this is just too difficult. Oh, I'm so weak, I'm such a failure. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that we're equipped to set our boundary, to maintain it and keep it there. Because if we're going to set a boundary, especially if it's with people who we haven't really had that boundary in place previously, that's going to be a change. And chances are people aren't going to like it. If we've always said yes to everything and now we're going to say no thank you to some things, then chances are people are going to push back against that. Well, why not? It was all, it was fine before. Why are you saying no now? You've always said yes. You've got to know that you can maintain it. It's like, okay, I may have done that in the past, but actually I'm not doing that this time. This is the right thing for me. There's stages before we get to this that we have to put in place, that we've got to really be able to work on. Some of that is about our self-esteem. I have a right to meet my own needs. The step back from that might be knowing what your needs are, recognising when you're out of your comfort zone, when you're saying yes to something that you really don't want to do. When we know what our needs are, what's the right thing for us, then we have to think about what would that boundary look like, kind of wording of it that feels good for us. It's not just a case of no. And then to know how we're going to maintain it. How are we going to hold on to that? No, this is the right thing for me. We might want to acknowledge how hard this is for the person trying to push against it. I know you're not happy about this. The other thing that we have to be really clear about when we set a boundary is our intent. And if we are 100% sure that this boundary that we're going to put in place is for our own safety, to meet our own needs, and not to make other people's life difficult or to hurt in any way, then it becomes easier to maintain. Because if somebody comes back at you and says, well, I find that offensive, or that really hurts my feelings, or how do you think that makes me feel? Then we've got to be ready for that and say, I'm sorry you feel that way, or I see that this is difficult for you, but this one comes from a place of kindness and a place of I deserve to be respected, I have a value, and I'm going to put myself first and meet my own needs. And there is nothing wrong with that, and we can be very explicit about it. The really good thing about getting really solid, strong boundaries is that once we can really embody that, when we can really practice it and find our core strength, our absolute sense of I'm worth this, other people just sense it. I have people that say to me all the time, well, you're so confident and I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of you. I actually don't like conflict. I have very little conflict in my life, because what I find is that even just the way you deliver a no, when it comes from that really core solid place, then people don't challenge it. They know that your no is a no. And if people know that when you say no, there's a lot of no's, it's not going to waver. They can't turn your no into a oh maybe or a okay yes. When they know that that's not the case, they just sense it. They sense that kind of solidity and that belief that you have in yourself and your boundary, and they will have more respect for you. We feel safer around people who have good boundaries, who know what's okay and what's not okay for them. Those people are very safe to be around because they're not wobbly. When people know that we're solid and confident and we are able to make those good decisions for ourselves, then everybody knows where we are. They know where they stand with us. There's nothing wibbly or wobbly about us. And if we think of some of the people that we really like and we really admire, they're probably people with very good boundaries. They know what's right for them. They know how to maintain it. They don't go around hurting other people's feelings. It's got nothing to do with that. Often when we're thinking about boundaries, we think about how much conflict we're going to get. Oh, people might not like it. I don't want to offend anybody. Well, those are the things that we need to be able to work on in order to put it in place in the first instance and then keep it there. Because it is not about hurting anybody. It's about getting a win-win for us and hopefully for others, because they know where our boundaries are. They know where our solid lines are, and they'll respect those. They might not like them, but they will respect them. If we all could have better boundaries, if we could all feel really okay at respecting other people's and celebrating those and celebrating our own, then the world would be a lot clearer place. And if we really brought this into the fore, then it makes it easier when we see somebody else's boundaries being pushed, somebody being made to feel uncomfortable, being intimidated, to maybe go in and support those people, to say, I think that's a no, I think that's enough. When we have that confidence in ourselves, it does make it easier to help other people maintain them and set them and have them respected. So this is not a recipe for conflict. It's the opposite of that. It's about not upsetting people, being very clear, not going back on our word, saying yes because we don't really know how to say no, and then trying to find the best excuse in the whole world to get out of it and worrying that we get caught out. Let's not even go down that path and really get good at saying what we mean and what we want in the first instance. It makes life a whole lot easier. But we've got to do this internal work first to make sure that we're ready to do this and to know what is in our comfort zone and what's out of our comfort zone, what's making us feel uncomfortable and what's making us feel comfortable. So I hope that makes the process of boundaries a lot clearer. If you have any questions about this, because this is a very personal thing, then please send them in. Any comments, any questions, any successes, any things that you have queries about, send them in. We love them. We read them. So I really hope that this has been both helpful, useful, and you've enjoyed watching this. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. If you've enjoyed this video, then please give it a big thumbs up and like and subscribe below. And I look forward to seeing you all again.